The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
My apologies, everyone. My apologies for that. It's Wednesday, the 17th day of September, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations on Hot 107.5. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. It's Wednesday. It's supposed to be hump day, and unfortunately, we're going to have a very uncomfortable conversation. Not something we want to do, but according to our community, something we have to do. Before we get to that, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Winfield Knight on from People's Pharmacy. We're going to be discussing some important things around GLP-1 and upcoming pharmacy week in October. The daily play is we're going to do music today. It's music today. But audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Hopefully my volume's good now. That was a test to see if you all were really rocking with us. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. That was a test to see if you actually want to hear the voice or you actually listen to the voice. But we're going to jump right into the conversation this morning, and Teo's going to have more on the discussion, but very simple. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? And we've asked previously, do you still feel safe in Bermuda? But where do we go as a community from here? Where do we go from here? You know, I think these conversations happen way too often for a community of our size. They happen too often, and they're getting worse. And I think, when Carl Azul was a part of this show, we kind of discussed our life experiences quite often as we were neighbors, right? And, shootings would happen regularly in our neighborhood. And I remember when these shootings would happen, her and I would talk, and it seemed like no one cared. And to this day, it's still so bothersome to me. It's still so bothersome to me when we react to any tragedy as if this is the first time, or now it's gone too far, or I thought women and children were supposed to be protected. Let me be very clear in saying this. We have some debates in our daily hour chat group at times. And Teo knows who I am, how I am. Sometimes I question whether he likes any of that. And I'm not joking because I am who I am and he is who he is. But we were having a debate about something last week in the group. And Teo says, I get you, Jay. You refuse to want to believe that everyone is evil. And he's right. I maybe it's me being naive, but I desperately want to see the good in every human being. I desperately believe there is good in every human being. But some way, somehow, evil has become the norm among us. And I want to read some names to you because when these things happen, when these tragedies happen, and they are tragic, we tend to say, react swiftly with fancy quotes and a lot of words and emotion. And then before you know it, we've gone right back to our daily lives. And that's okay because many of us, we have bills to pay. We have families to take care of. And we just put our heads down and get to work because we're just trying to survive until it happens again. I think the question that many people ask is just, when will it end? I think it's a fair question. But I remember, and I've shared this before, when many of my neighbors were gunned down and we were trying to get cooler heads to prevail and figure things out. And so many people, some whose children ended up growing up to be involved in some of this stuff, would say things like, oh, stay out of that. Now, some of the same people crying for peace and justice and cooler heads to prevail. We speak about being proactive rather than reactive. We blame the politician, we blame the police, we blame not having cameras. One thing I've learned in life through therapy as a child, who gave my parents and family a run for the money, as maybe a poor academic, maybe a tough employee, but a loving friend and godfather and uncle and son, colleague, classmate. One thing I've learned is that it's easier to fix things within ourselves than to wait for someone else to come and do it for us. And while I understand we can't all do it ourselves, it's a start. I would challenge everyone today to ask themselves, what am I doing? Or what can I do to stop what's happening in our community? So the question for us all is, where do we go from here as a community? Where do we go? Because as I look at the names on my whiteboard this morning, I read Garina Can, Deontay Trim, Jasmine Smith, and now another woman, mother, leaving babies, leaving children, behind. Many of us will go to work today and our lives will go on. And we must ask ourselves, is this the community that we want to live within? Is this how we want to live? Pick up your phone right now and put it on selfie. Look at yourself and ask yourself, is this the Bermuda that I want to live in? Is this the Bermuda that I love? Ask yourself, what can I do? Or what am I doing? This is a community problem. I don't have the answers, but I believe through uncomfortable community conversations, we can figure it out. My phone's blowing up, and you have people saying to me, Jamal, the problem is back when we were young, we feared the police. These young people don't fear the police. There are people who say when they changed the name from Bermuda Police Service to Police Force, that changed things. I tell you what, some of that may be true. Some of that may be true. But there are a lot of other factors in play. We heard Dr. Maria Seaman say yesterday, and the fact is, yeah, back when more of us were going Sunday school or attending church, this was less likely. But I'm not going to give religion and the church all that credit. I just won't. Because the other side of it is, what has religion and the church done to contribute to people leaving? We've got to take this away from politics, away from religion, and have some deep, deep conversations about a lot of things. We've got these billionaire and millionaire companies in Bermuda who show up to give backpacks and they give a couple $1,000s for laptops, and they sponsor these tournaments here and there, and that's their contribution. Let me tell you something. I figured out their contribution to our society was long ago. In January 2018, the Bermuda Tourism Authority decided that they wanted to make some folks' positions redundant, me being one of them. So they do that. And then a few days later, because they knew the heat's on them, they have this big press conference with all their political friends from the One Bermuda Alliance, and they say, "Oh, we've set record numbers." Why'd they do that? Because corporations and people who do evil love to look good to the people. They love to make people feel well. You remember your utilities company making things hard for the everyday person, taking money out of the parents' pocket to support their children. But they gave them a bag of junk food and all was well. All of this contributes to what we experience. Dropping $10,000 for a billion dollar company, that's nothing. But we don't need charity to fix these problems. We don't need these laptop giveaways. We don't need these backpack giveaways. You know what we need? We need economic opportunities that allow people to buy their own laptops and backpacks for their children. But see, as long as we keep lapping it up and acting like these charitable donations are everything and we big them up and so on, nothing's going to change. Because as I've said before, the goal of charity today should be to ensure that the person who benefits from your act today does not need you a year from now. That's true charity. It's empowerment. Yeah, you didn't see that one coming, but it all plays a role. We have got to shift our thinking. We have got to shift how we go about our everyday life. So, where do we go from here? My former lawyer used to say all the time, we love to celebrate the wrong things, mediocrity. Dr. Seaman said about, that baby being born. Folks, this is not condemnation right here. This is reality. We started having graduations for children leaving nursery and preschool. Marva Otterbridge said when we were in primary school, we're not having no primary school graduation. We're having a prize giving. You're not graduating. You're moving on. This stuff contributes, folks. My niece says the other day, she got all A's or something. And she says to me, well, uncle, do I get a prize? And her mom says, prize? Yeah. To keep getting better grades, to keep it up. That's your prize, to grow up so that you can be well. That's not saying we don't reward children. But the reward they must understand is in the work that they continue to do. Our community has been blinded by charity and money and consumerism. It's taken over our minds, and it's almost as if we don't even understand the contribution that this stuff plays in what we're experiencing. So when we ask the questions and we start pointing fingers, Wanye says in one of those Boys to Men songs, stop pointing fingers, the blame is on me. We all have a role to play. Ask ourselves, what are we celebrating? Why are we celebrating? Every last one of us needs to look in the mirror right now and ask ourselves, how did we get here? And what can we do to change the situation that we're in? And although you may think it doesn't impact and affect you, oh, it does. Yes, it does. Let's go to the audience, folks. This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, yesterday's broad daylight shooting, the days of empire are over. Bermuda's constitution needs to be amended, taking away responsibility for the police away from the governor and give it to the democratically elected leaders of the country. It's madness to retain the current colonial status quo, a leftover from the days of empire. At least we can hold them accountable, right? Silent Kate Horton says, this is not a police issue, sadly. This is a community issue, indeed. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, we feared police authorities, pastors, and mostly our parents and grandparents. Today, very few, if any, are respected. I think there's a difference between fear and respect. I think there was a sense of fear back then, but there was always also respect. I think we feared consequences back then, right? But if people continue to see things like this happening and no one facing the consequences, are they really going to fear consequences? And if we want people to face the consequences for their action, that's going to mean every last person in our community playing a key role, right? Selling Kate Horton says, I agree with you. Read the giveaways. They get on my last nerve. The wrong message is sent, in my opinion. How many of us get more than enough? Said. Michael Daniels says the physical world works as a result of principles, rules that cause our reality to fall apart when we do not adhere to them. Folks, giving you a lot to think about this morning. I hope I have. That's your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan and Secure. We're going to take a quick break. We'll bring Teo in for Daily Hour News Break after we show some love to Titan, Express, and Secure. If you've appreciated discussion so far, please, whatever platform you are on, help us beat the algorithm by giving us a like, love, follow, share, subscribe on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right, let's bring to Dill in for the Daily Hour News Break. And don't forget, we've got Winfield Night Pharmacist coming up. We're going to be talking about GLP-1, the new, it's a diet thing that Serena Williams was promoting the other day.
Good morning, fam. Morning, Jay. I'm Teo Dill. Welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples, who have everything you need to protect your health. Thank you, man, for this morning. I appreciate you and your perspective. The only one thing I would say is in relation to the deterrence that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that applies in this instance. What I mean by that is, well, let me ask you a question. Why don't you murder people? What's the thing that keeps you from doing it?
I don't want to hurt other people, number one.
But like it has nothing to do with what the consequences.
No,
like, it's not because of jail. It's not because
it's not because of the consequences. No, absolutely not. It's genuinely because
you don't do that.
It's what am I was raised not to want to cause harm to others.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people that want to murder, they will do it regardless of what the consequences are, legally or otherwise. In fact, they're willing to make it exponentially more likely that they will end up dead as a result of murder themselves, right? So they don't even want to protect their own life. So this is not a question of consequences, like us not being sufficiently harsh with this stuff, right? Agreed. Anyway, so just obviously the huge story of the moment. Just after a month after two young men were shot dead on Court Street, the fifth gun death of the year ended the life of a woman, only steps away from the shooting that took place last month. The initial call came in just before 5 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon, with officers and EMTs rushing to the scene of a shooting incident at a business adjacent to Place's Place. Life-saving measures began immediately as the victim was rushed to hospital, where she was tragically pronounced dead soon after. Police Commissioner Darren Simons provided an update from the scene just moments after this tragedy yesterday afternoon.
Now, at this moment in time, what I absolutely want to do is to appeal for anyone who knows anything, any witnesses to that scene. This is Court Street, and at this time of the day, there are definitely people out there that have seen things. I want to thank members of the public that have already assisted us at this moment in time. And you're going to see some additional patrols and us formulate a community response plan in relation to this incident to provide some reassurance to the community, bring a measure of calm on the situation.
He went on to underline that this kind of tragedy has been happening too frequently, and that the BPS will be doing everything possible to identify, arrest, and prosecute those responsible?
Oh, there's just been far too many tragic deaths where some violent members of our community are insistent on just opening fire in public places where people congregate. And we absolutely need to do everything we can together as a community to bring a stop to this. Rest assured that the police, from an investigating perspective, are going to be responding to this. We're going to be asking people to give us information, using all the tools that are available to gather information and bring offenders to justice.
Now, in other news from the BPS, a serious two-vehicle road traffic collision disrupted the flow of traffic in the Midwest of the island yesterday evening. It was over at the junction of Mance Road on Middle Road, and we don't know much at this point, but a motorcyclist was involved in the collision, and they are in hospital right now dealing with a leg injury. No idea as to the extent of that leg injury, but when we find out more, we'll tell you. Now, I apologize for this, but here's another less than optimistic piece of news that is nationally relevant. Weather models indicate that a new tropical wave has formed in the East Atlantic that looks like it's headed at least in our general direction. The wave has been designated Invest 92L by the National Hurricane Center, and it's on track to strengthen into either a tropical depression or named storm before the end of this week, and is expected to grow into a hurricane that could be a direct threat or close call to Bermuda by the end of next week. The broad consensus of the models is that the system will develop, swing north, and it will swing away from the U.S. All that means in our general direction, but we'll keep you posted one way or the other. And again, if it's going to hit us, it's going to happen before the end of next week and should be named Hurricane Gabrielle. And weather-wise, today's conditions should be bright, clear, and a lot less damp and rainy than we've experienced over the last little while. It's all due to high pressure finally asserting itself more firmly in our airspace. Gentle breeze, near average air temps. Overall, it's looking good for the rest of the week, at least today, as far as the weather's concerned.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Tay. Days of the year. Give you something. Tay, do you like apple pies?
I like my mama's apple.
Good answer. Good answer.
Pie generally, but her apple pie,
okay.
Different kind of thing.
It's apple dumpling day. I've never had an apple dumpling, but yeah, I'll go for the apple pie. So I don't know, folks. Are you an apple person? I mean, I don't like apples unless they're kind of in a pie. So
really,
yeah, I don't like.
Man,
apples.
You got to try the green apples, man. That everybody's sleeping. The reds they look cool, but green apples are where it's at.
I'd put them in my juices now, but yeah.
Good job. Well done.
Tay, thank you so much, man. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you on Friday.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Tay O'Dill, folks. If you've appreciated the discussion so far this morning, whatever platform you're on, please give us a love, like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We have a very important conversation coming up with pharmacists from People's Pharmacy, Winfield Knight. We're going to be discussing some important things about GLP-1. It is being promoted by so many celebrities. I believe Serena Williams, Charles Barkley. Get your questions ready because you don't want to, we live in a time where everyone wants instant results, and we'll be discussing some of these important things. So get ready to ask the pharmacist some important questions that you may have. We'll be back after this short break. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Ready to take your financial game to the next level? HSBC is here to help you power up your financial fitness. Your strategy should be sharp and ready for anything because luck won't get you to the top. Whether securing your future, growing wealth, or planning for life's next serve, HSBC's experts are here for you. From budgeting to investing, let's craft a plan as unique as your goals. Plus, get free financial planning consultations to stay on track. Learn more at hsbc.bm/financial planning. HSBC Bank Bermuda is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Take a look at our workforce for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Get ready for the cool Bermuda nights ahead. A CI-AC mini split AC unit from BAC Group is the perfect solution, keeping you warm this winter and cool all summer long. While supplies last, you can get a unit starting at just $913.50. Plus, receive an extra 10% off when you pay with cash or credit card at the counter. BAC Group, comfort for every season.
SCARS stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when SCARS is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it. He cares about children. It's a connection.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, without further ado, let's bring on our very special guest for the day. We have Winfield Knight on from People's Pharmacy. He's a pharmacist and a very important community conversation. Audience, get your questions ready. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Greetings, sir. How are you?
I'm very happy to be here with you, Jamel, this morning.
Yeah, have you.
And I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Yes, we're happy to have you. Before we get into the discussion, I must ask you, do you like apple pie since it's Apple Dumpling Day?
I do. I really love it, especially my grandmother used to make a really good apple pie, so I do like that, and my mom as well. So yes, if you've ever been to where I come from, Barbados, you have to stop at Chafette as well and get their apple pie. Is really nice.
All right, we know what to do when we're in Barbados, folks. If you love apple pies, well, thank you for doing this. Very important community conversation this morning. And I must be honest, I didn't even know what this was about until Serena Williams went public in the summer over GLP-1. But before we get into that, just share with the audience a bit about your background, who you are, and what it is you do.
Okay, well, as you know, that I'm a pharmacist with the People's Group. I've been a pharmacist for the last 21 years. I've practiced in varying fields in pharmacy, including hospital, clinical, and now community pharmacy here in Bermuda. So yeah, that's basically it.
All right. And today, I want to talk a bit about the GLP-1 medications. And audience, if you have any questions about them, feel free to send your questions and comments through as well. But can you explain to the audience what GLP-1 medications do and where nutrition, vitamins, or lifestyle support becomes critical complements?
Yes, certainly. Okay, so GLP-1 medications are primarily prescribed to treat type 2 diabetes. This is where that there is an increase in the amount of sugar in your body, and there's not enough insulin for the body to deal with this sugar, to get it into the cells where that is needed for energy to be given. But it also is also prescribed in the treatment of weight management, where that there's excess weight gain. Because with excess weight gain, it can lead to those what we call comorbid conditions that are related to increased weight, which is type 2 diabetes, the same type 2 diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea. All of those are weight-related comorbid conditions. So the doctor would make an assessment on the patient as to whether or not that they should be on a GLP-1 agonist in order to treat these conditions.
Gotcha. And what are some of the nutritional gaps? What side effects people can experience when using GLP-1? And how can a pharmacist help someone mitigate the risk?
Okay, so like I said before, GLP-1 helps with weight management. How it does this is that it suppresses your appetite and delays gastric emptying. In delaying the gas, which basically means is that the food takes longer to leave your gut. And then you feel, they send signals to your brain that makes you feel fuller. So you don't eat as much, which can lead to nutrient deficiencies. You asked a very important question about what are some of the nutrient deficiencies that can occur, because people believe that once you're on this type of medication, you don't need to eat the right things, and you don't need to eat at all. Some people stop eating regularly, which can further slow down your metabolism and cause a person to plateau where they're not losing any more weight. But some of the nutrient deficiencies are like decreased protein. That's a major one. With decreased caloric intake, your body is going to cry out for energy. And so what the body is going to do is to turn on itself and actually get the energy from the lean muscle. And then as the body gets that energy from the lean muscle, there's going to be muscle wastage. So you need protein to help, as most gym goers would know, you need protein to help build back that muscle or build back that lean muscle. And so there's a major cause for concern with protein deficiency. Also, you feel more lethargic. And so, you need your B vitamins, vitamin B12, important in giving energy for nerve health and also for red blood cell formation. Red blood cells are responsible for transporting oxygen around the body. So you do need vitamin B. You can try the B complex. You do need vitamin B to supplement that energy level decline that you may experience. Magnesium is another mineral that you may need to look at because, again, less food going in, magnesium would help with a variety of conditions such as improving of sleep, supporting the stress, and also supporting nervous function. It also acts to give you that energy boost that is needed and maintain muscle function. And iron and all of those things come into play as well.
I literally just started taking magnesium this summer, but I do have a question based on what someone said, and perfect time to ask you. An audience, just a quick yes or no. Had you heard of GLP-1? Audience, let us know. Had you heard of GLP-1? But as far as vitamins, is it any truth that the gummy versions are not as effective as the capsules?
No, they are as equally as effective to my mind in terms of providing those vitamins and minerals that a patient may need. It all boils down to if the person is able to take it. Some gummies are really sweet, and of course, as a pharmacist, you wouldn't recommend something that is sweet to a diabetic. So, and then, so it depends on the person's preference and their condition that will determine whether or not that they prefer the capsule over the gummies.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I told a person that told me, you're not a pharmacist, you don't know. Let's talk about Pharmacy Week coming up next month. In Bermuda, we're going to be celebrating. What are some key roles? Because I've realized over the years that a pharmacist, to me, has been as important as the doctor. And it's something that people overlook. But speak to us about the key role pharmacists now play in the community beyond dispensing pills.
Oh man, you've really hit the nail on the head. This is something that's close to my heart, because I do believe for a long time people just see pharmacists as pill pushers, but pharmacists do so much more. You have the cardiologist being a specialist in terms of drugs, in terms of the heart. You have your neurologist being a specialist, in his field. But pharmacists are really the specialists in drug administration and making sure that the patient utilizes and administers the drug in an appropriate way, stores those medications appropriately, and maximizes their therapeutic treatment regimen prescribed by the doctor. When you bring a prescription to the pharmacy, the pharmacist doesn't pull something and matches what the doctor writes immediately to what to what the patient should get. The pharmacist analyzes that prescription, making sure that there are no drug-drug interactions that will kill the patient. The pharmacist then make sure that the dosing is correct to optimize what therapeutic condition the person has been prescribed this medication for, and at times may call the doctor to have the dosing adjusted to maximize that effect. And the pharmacist make sure that the person knows how to properly store and take that medication. Sometimes it comes across because of how quickly a pharmacist does this and accurately. And let me just say that when I was in school, pharmacy school, many moons ago, I was told by my lecturer that pharmacists are allowed one mistake a day, but don't make it. So whereas, and I always say this, whereas a doctor may get a call from us and say, "Hey, look, this dose is not correct. This may harm the patient." Our doctor may get a call and say, "Well, there's a drug interaction between there. Consider changing the dose and whatnot." We are not allowed the luxury of that error, but we do it really quickly. So it looks as if that we are just pushing out pills, but there's so many things computing in our mind. That's why I tell patients, do not, when you go to a pharmacy, that's the one place that you should take your time.
And I don't think, I'm going to use myself as an example. I don't think we generally realize how accessible pharmacists are. Like, for instance, one thing the pharmacist always says when they give you the prescription, do you have any questions? Right? And I always say no, and I'm not even thinking. Then I get home and I'm like, okay, it's got the instructions here, but how should I take it? Like, do I need a full meal? I always think after the fact. And so now you're like, well, you know what? I'm just going to do it. It's better to be reassured. But let's speak about accessibility. Pharmacists are very accessible, probably more accessible than doctors, because doctors are always with patients and the like. What are some practical low barrier services or advice that pharmacists like yourself offer patients that can support their long-term health?
Oh, yes. Really good question. And I'm glad you talked about that accessibility, because we're the first point of contact sometimes for patients and the last point when you get your prescription, if we recommend you to go to the doctor of contact to make sure that you get what you need. Some of the low barrier methods in which that we provide the services, we look at giving blood pressure checks. Sometimes we give blood sugar checks. We're trained to do this. We are also trained to interpret the readings and explain to the patient what is because we are trading clinical guidelines just like the physician. But we can also do cholesterol checks, and there are some pharmacists who are also able to administer immunizations, though I don't think that that is part right now in terms of pharmacy practice here in Bermuda.
Gotcha. Interesting. I'll get to the questions and comments in the audience. Keep them coming. We'll get through as many as possible. Let's talk about, get back to GLP-1. If someone is starting on GLP-1 medication, what would be your top 3 practical pieces of advice from a pharmacist's perspective to set them up for safer, more sustainable success?
Well, okay, so the first piece of advice that I would give to a patient is make sure that you do not stop eating the correct quantities of food. So nutrition. So one of the things I would hit home is nutritional gaps, as we discussed before. That's important. Also, I would talk about their side effects, to what to look out for. You can experience nausea and vomiting over the first few administration, especially if you are now starting a GLP-1. You may experience this. You might even experience feelings of bloatedness, constipation. All of these things can happen because, remember, it's acting on those substances or incretins, what we call them, in the gut that are increasing these things. So anything like that can affect and is slowing down your gastric emptying, so you can become more bloated and everything. So I'll explain to them how to mitigate these things, like increasing fiber in your diet, increasing water, doing light exercises, just to make sure that you're getting the best out of the medication prescribed. Lastly, I would talk to them about when to consult a doctor. Like if you're trying to go to the bathroom to pass stools and you just can't voluntarily do it, that's a serious cause for concern. So you should seek medical attention if that should occur. So severe tenderness in your tummy. If you experiencing severe tenderness in your tummy area, then you do need to seek medical advice. Or if you experience jaundice or yellowing of your nails, if you notice your nails and skin are turning slightly yellow, it could mean that you have some liver dysfunction, and you do need to seek medical attention as well. So
Got it. Let's go to the audience. Did ask folks, had they heard of GLP-1? We got a no from Helene Swan. Manuela Joan was asking, is metformin a form of GLP-1?
No. Metformin is not a form of GLP-1. GLP-1, especially in the treatment of weight management, are usually injectable forms. But metformin is what we call a biguanide, which acts in the liver to actually slow down the progression of glucose production. But the GLP-1 acts really to release those special incretins, GLP-1, and then you have GIP, which goes on to act on the pancreas to increase insulin production to help lower blood sugar levels. So it's not a form, but you can be under medical supervision be prescribed both metformin and a GLP-1 should the doctor decide to do that. There are only certain medications that you really shouldn't take with a GLP-1. And you can have a discussion with your pharmacist about those medications as well, if you need to.
All right. We've got Shamari Sky. He says, I was told that magnesium is good for alcoholics. Any truth to this?
Well, yes. The magnesium, I would say yes, because it acts as a natural liver detox. So it could help with it, but I would suggest just abstaining or lowering your alcohol consumption, because it doesn't make any sense with using products that help with certain functions in the body, and then you're just not continuing, or you're just doing the same thing over and over and increasing the chances of the vitamin not working, magnesium not working. So it's always good to just limit the use of your alcohol consumption.
Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, I've heard that there's a risk of patients losing muscle mass by taking this. Is this true? And should one be concerned?
Very concerned. Like I said before, the body, with decreased caloric intake, the body slows down, metabolism slows down. It's not getting the energy that it needs. So it turns to lean muscle to provide that energy. So at the end of the day, you are losing muscle mass. Now, with loss of muscle mass comes complications. Complications can lead to even the same diabetes type 2. And then decrease immune function. All of these things can lead to a decrease in muscle mass. So especially lean muscle. And so that's why you need a discussion with your dietitian or nutritionist. I mean, everybody should be on board when somebody is taking a GLP-1, or with your pharmacist about what are some of the proteins that you can consider. And the body needs at least, I would say, some literature say 0.8 grams per kilogram, but I would say at least 1 gram per kilogram to 1.2 grams per kilogram of protein supplementation in order to maintain good protein function.
All right. We've got Shamari Sky asking, is generic as effective?
Okay, so I'm thinking Shamari is asking about generics versus brand in general. If I'm getting the question correct, a generic form of a medication is really the same. Let me just caution myself. So it is manufactured to provide the same therapeutic effect as its branded counterpart. Right. Of course, there are certain things with the branded medication, times where that the branded medication works a little better than the generic, and that's because of some inactive ingredients that it may contain, or sometimes there are generic, people prefer generic over brand because of, again, because of the same inactive excipients that the drug may contain. But basically, they're formulated to provide the same therapeutic result as their branded counterpart. Remember, the brand was first. That was the company that actually provided or patented the product, and then afterwards, after the patent will expire, then generic companies would have been able to make the medication for consumption at a more cost effective way. So that's why generics are usually lower in cost than their brand. Yeah.
Got it. So let's look ahead. How do you see the role of pharmacy evolving in Bermuda in particular? And what do you hope people will learn from their pharmacists just going forward? I mean, do we hope that people will become more interested in preventative care, obviously, and wellness over reactionary medicine? But how does that relationship evolve? How do look going forward?
Yes. Like I really want persons to see their pharmacists as approachable, as friendly, as an expositor of drug medication, and also drugs, and also in terms of information in general about their health. And because, like I said, you're not charged to come and see us. We study this practically up to a certain point, the same things as some medical doctors before that they specialize, but we branch off into drugs. And that's why that, and then there are different aspects of pharmacy as well that people branch off into it. So pharmacy is very dynamic. And we have so much information up here that we love to share with people when they come. But I want in Bermuda, where I practice, for people to see us as more than just a pill pusher, or where that you can a vending machine where that you just come and put your prescription in at some window and then bring your prescription out, but we are trained to give medical therapy management, medication therapy management, and we are trained to help you. We are pretty important part of the healthcare team, total healthcare team. So just to have that knowledge about us, when you come to the pharmacy, it gives you a whole lot more trust in our advice when you take it, when we should give it.
All right. One last question from the audience before we let you go, because we'll keep you here. Charles H. Jefferson II asked, I assume one needs a prescription for this being relatively new on the market. Are doctors more apt to know about this drug and other drugs new to the market? I don't know how you all keep up.
We have to keep up with. We have to. It's both any discipline in the medical field requires continuing education, and even though it is mandatory for both pharmacists and physicians and nurses to do CE, continuing education courses in order to re-register, it is something that a pharmacist should love to do, because there are new developments over there. Now, in connection with his question in relation to GLP-1, yes, it is well, relatively new, but not so new. So most doctors know, if not all, know about it and when to initiate their treatment, when to start it, and what they should be looking for by at least a 6-month period after treatment, what they're looking for. And so I would say, yes, they should know, but even if they are unaware, they always call the pharmacist to ask questions as well, because remember, we are the expositors of information on everything drug. We sleep, breathe, eat drugs. That's what a pharmacist does.
All righty. Tamara Richardson says GLP-1 medications are a class of drugs better known by their trade names such as Ozempic and what's that word?
Wegovy. Yes. So GLP-1 medications, yes, and there's so much out there right now. Ozempic and Wegovy are what our trade names, our branded names for semaglutide. And Wegovy is FDA approved for weight loss, whereas Ozempic has been FDA approved for type 2 diabetes. However, Ozempic can be given off-label for the same weight loss, since it's the same semaglutide. But there are so many more that are out there now. There is Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide, which is both a GLP-1 and something called GIP, which also enhances the effect of insulin secretion from the pancreas. So there is Saxenda or Victoza, which is liraglutide. So there's a number of GLP-1 medications out there. All can be used in the treatment for diabetes type 2, and in some cases weight management, but under specific guidelines and at certain dosing schedules.
This has been helpful. This has been very helpful. We've got that Wilson. I said one last. This will be the final question, I promise you. That Wilson, Cat Wilson says, "Is there a holistic solution for this problem?"
I'm thinking Miss Wilson means for is it nutrient deficiency that she's referring to? If it's okay, so if it's nutrient deficient, right, or is it that for weight gain? Because all right, so I'm going to talk on both. So holistic solution, there's always a holistic solution for any problem. Weight gain is as much a psychological component to weight gain as there is a physiological component. So you do need to have take mental approaches to your weight management, have set goals, talk to your doctor, your primary care physician about it. You do need to increase physical activity and talk to your nutritionist do certain things in order to, before that the doctor thinks about putting you on a GLP-1 agonist. Again, when I say agonist, it's just activator of GLP-1. So sorry, talking, just breaking down everything. So when somebody is prescribed a GLP-1, you are holistically approaching the problem of weight gain, which is important. You're looking at it from a holistic point of view. Let's say, I think I'm not sure if I've answered her question the way that she wants it to be answered. But yes, just eat more wholesome foods. If you are prescribed a GLP-1, just make sure that you're addressing the nutrient gaps. If you're unsure, talk with your pharmacist about it, about the different supplements out there.
All right. Tamara Richardson says it is amazing how much knowledge a trusted pharmacist can offer. Make sure you have a trusted one on your wellness team. I want to say this, though, as it relates to what she just said. Obviously, you need a prescription from a doctor to get something from a pharmacist. But can one develop a relationship with their pharmacist to the point where the pharmacist can recommend to the doctor that this patient take something? Or it always has to be the doctor to the pharmacist?
Oh, no. Like I said before, the doctor, especially in the clinical care setting, because I've practiced in both, or in the hospital setting, even in the community setting, the doctor relies on or is taught to rely on their pharmacist as well for information, because remember, it's healthcare. Healthcare is a team effort for the patient, and yes, the patients can trust their pharmacist to talk to their doctor about a suitable alternative to treatment should the need arise, or suitable treatment options. And doctors are usually, for the most part, happy to discuss it with the trained pharmacist, respecting his or her field of expertise. And so it's all for the benefit of the patient. And that is what everybody, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, a pharmacist, that's what we are all trained to do, to work as a team for the benefit of the patient.
Appreciate it. Winfield Knight, it's been a pleasure. I echo what Anika DeShields says. This has been a great topic today. We've got to have more conversations like this. I mean, I think these conversations are as important as asking a doctor. So thank you for gracing us with your presence and the information this morning. And I'm sure we'll be in touch to do this again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It was great.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Okay, bye.
Winfield Knight, folks, your pharmacist at People's Pharmacy. Pharmacy Week's coming up in October, and we'll probably have more information regarding that for you going forward. But do not go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up in a few. We've got a daily play as well. Stick with us.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative Program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
PALS is a cancer care charity. We started 45 years ago. What started as a charity with a half-time nurse, and basically just assisting patients going home from the hospital, but patients dying at home. We now, 45 years later, have 6 nurses, a social worker, and a palliative care physician. I know a lot of people that watch the Daily Hour every day, so it's just educational. It helps you know more about specific charities or specific organizations, and kind of get the nitty gritty as opposed to just seeing a flyer on social media or just hearing or seeing a commercial. I think it's more beneficial. Like if I'm on the radio or on TV, I'm just like telling you what I think you want to know. But you might have specific questions that I can answer directly. I think it's much better having the live engagement.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to Winfield Knight and People's Pharmacy for that most important community conversation. Folks, I think we should do this more often. I think we should have a little feature called Ask the Pharmacist. What do you think? Yes or no? I think that was helpful. And I think there's so many other things that we can discuss about how pharmacists can help us, both from a holistic and prescription medicine perspective. So thanks again to Winfield Knight. And sure, we'll have more information leading up to Pharmacy Week of how you can benefit. I agree with Alicia Martin Brangman. This is very enlightening. Thank you, Mr. Knight. All right, folks. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medicals, Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump the airwaves on a regular basis with these most important community conversations. If you haven't already, make sure whatever platform you're on, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a like, love, follow, subscribe. Make sure everyone you know has access to these most important community conversations as possible. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Bermuda Trivia is now available at, well, many stores throughout Bermuda. So follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, it's music today. Are you ready? You ready? Okay, here we go. It's music. One yay. I literally gave you all the answer earlier, actually, and I didn't realize this would be the question. One yay from Boys to Men said he'll stop pointing fingers because the blame is on who? I literally gave you the answer. Yeah, I said it earlier. Stop pointing fingers. The blame is on me. Yeah. Stacey Ann Brown, Sheikah Rayna, Rosalind Famous, you all got it. But I know you didn't get it because you heard me say it. That's a line that I actually remembered. But yes, the rain. No, you got it the first time. Me. Yeah, the blame is on me. All right, folks, let's wrap it up so I can send you along to enjoy your day. Look, I'll be short in what I said earlier in the most direct way possible. Our community is a reflection of, as the Rastaman says, I and I, all of us. If we want it to change, then it is up to I and I, all of us. We have to decide what we want for our community. As far as the conversation with Mr. Knight, Tayanasha Knight says, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, says, thank you, Mr. Knight. Enjoyed that segment. Very informative. Must have him on again. Absolutely. I think conversations like that are of great importance. I believe they're helpful. And conversations like that remind me of why I love to do this show, why it's so important that this show exists. So thank you to People's Pharmacy. Thank you to Mr. Knight. And we look forward to regular segments, hopefully, where we can have the audience asking questions about whatever it is that the pharmacist is discussing on that day. All right, let me give you a daily inspiration, and I'll just share with you what I tweeted this morning. Here's your daily inspiration. What our society is experiencing isn't a political issue, it's a community one. When the community is suffering, the leaders must step up to communicate with the people, reassure the people, and work with the people towards a resolution. Anything else seems political. And I'll leave it at that. Folks, again, whatever platform you're streaming on, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter X, Instagram, please do us that big favor. Help us beat the algorithm and give us a like, love, follow, subscribe. Share these conversations with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, I'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.